Now, former professional racing driver Susie Wolff is a motorsport executive and entrepreneur who has spent more than 20 years at the forefront of gender diversity and representation internationally. Now, Wolff was recently in South Africa as a guest speaker at the Momentum Workshop Series, and she found time to chat to one of my colleagues about a number of challenges faced by women in the high-performance environment of motorsport.
Susie, let's start with careers in motorsport. I think a lot of people see motorsport from a driver's perspective, but it's a big industry. There are many opportunities, top marketers, top strategists. Just to enlighten people on the opportunities available for different talents in the sport. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. Well, I think the first thing to acknowledge is that Formula One is the pinnacle of the sport. But motorsport in general is a huge industry because you obviously have all the ladders on the way up to Formula One. And certainly, even for me at F1 Academy, we're not just focused on the on-track action, because if you go to a Formula One Grand Prix weekend, there's only 20 Formula One drivers, but there are thousands of people there to help with that event on, either from the Formula One team side, from the organisation side, from the promoter. So there's really a huge industry of off-track opportunities in motorsport. Of course, we've got to make those accessible because sometimes it's difficult to know where to go, where to start, but so many great opportunities within motorsport.
You basically live motorsport, whether you were competitive in a car or you're almost married to motorsport. Talk to us about juggling life in motorsport around, because there's a lot of traveling. You have a young family, you need to build all of that up. And make sure that every area is taken care of. Talk to us about that.
Well, you're right, it is challenging, but I always think of myself as very lucky to have found my passion so early in life. I started racing when I was 8, and even to this day, whether I'm at a kart track with my son or a Formula One track, I love the environment, I love the competitiveness, I love the adrenaline, I love being at a racetrack. So naturally, I really enjoy my job. It doesn't feel like a job. But you're right, there's a lot of travel, there is a lot of pressure. So aside from my job running F1 Academy, I am the logistics manager of the family. And that takes a lot of organisation, but we manage. And I do think my husband and I are very lucky that we share the same passion. We both love racing. Motorsport,
as you said, is a big industry, and the big circuses go around the different world, but it also takes a lot of sacrifice. Parents basically sacrifice a lot, drivers sacrifice a lot. Emotionally, it's literally a roller coaster. What would you like to see different in the sport of motorsport? Because it has different elements, and the one thing about motorsport, evolution is always at the forefront. What would you like to see different, and what sort of future trends should we look out for?
Well, I think you're right. It's super fast paced, but in the end, we're a very global sport, and that I think we're very thankful for. We don't just race in one territory. We race all over the world and 24 times a year. So lots of sporting events happen. The Olympics once every 4 years. Seasons, whereas ours is a long season and touches every continent in the world. So I think that is something very unique. It means there's very little downtime because even when the season finishes, you're already looking on the car for the following season. What I love right now about Formula One is the fact that it's so close. We're seeing the teams fighting for milliseconds to get pole position. The races are going down to the tiniest of margins of who's taking the victory. And I think anyone who watches sport loves to see it being so close and not knowing who could win, because when you have a winner that's consistently winning, it naturally becomes a little bit more boring. But you touched upon one word which I think any person in sport will recognize. In the end, it all comes down to sacrifice. How much are you willing to sacrifice to get to the very top?
Beautiful sit down there with Susie Wolff.